Everyone dreams of winning the lottery. But what if I told you that for some, it's the beginning of a nightmare? From people trying to manifest millions to winners forced to follow insane rules and others who ended up dead. This is the shocking truth behind what really happens when luck strikes big.
Michael Todd Hill. In 2007, Michael Hill won $10 million in an Ultimate Millions scratch-off ticket purchased at a convenience store in North Carolina. Hill was charged with the crime of killing his wife 13 years later in 2020 and told the court he was impoverished and couldn't afford counsel. He was sentenced to life in prison for the demise of 23-year-old Kiana Graham. According to the state lottery administrator, Hill played an Extreme Millions scratch-off ticket at a petrol station in North Carolina and came up short in August 2017. That year, he went back to the cashier and opted to play Ultimate Millions instead. "I joked with her, 'How come you didn't sell me a winning ticket?' Hill stated. He went back to his car and began scratching in the parking lot. It didn't take long for him to realize he had a winning ticket. When I got to the dollar symbol, I knew I had won something," he explained in 2017. "I saw 1, then 0, and it still didn't hit me." Hill returned inside and inquired about the ticket. "She told me, 'Sir, I think you just won $10 million. He explained to the state lottery. He immediately called his wife to inform her of the life-changing news. "I told her to pack her bags because we just won $10 million. According to the lottery, Hill agreed to accept a flat sum of $6 million, which amounted to a little above $4 million after state and federal tax withholdings. He stated that his plan was to pay off debts and invest in his wife's business. Now, it's time to meet his wife, Kiana Graham. Hill was almost 3 years later in the midst of an 18-month relationship with Graham, but they had a history of domestic issues, a dark red flag. When her daughter failed to show up for work as a prison officer at Pender Correctional Institution, Graham's mother filed a missing persons complaint on July 20th, 2020. On the same day the report was submitted, the maids at the Shore Stay Hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina, entered room 310 and discovered Graham on a bed with a single shot wound to the head. Authorities believe Graham was sleeping when she was fatally shot with a .45 caliber handgun. Hill ultimately admitted to police that Graham met her tragic end by him while she was messaging males at the hotel. Isn't it crazy what money can do to a sane man? The same thing happened in the next story, where a man called William Post had to sleep with one eye open, scared for his life after hitting the jackpot. William Bud Post. William Post won $16.2 million in 1988, but things swiftly went south. Post won the prize while playing a lottery game in Pennsylvania. He was $1 million in debt just a year after winning the lottery. How can a millionaire be $1 million in debt, you might ask? When he won $16.2 million in the Pennsylvania lottery in 1988, he went on a buying binge that included residences, boats, and a plane he wasn't certified to fly. Post was not just broke again, but also one horrifying $1 million in debt just a year later. Post's brother was also jailed for hiring a hitman to assassinate him. Post ended up declaring bankruptcy, doing time in jail for pointing a gun at a debt collector, and being duped out of a third of his money by his landlord. Everybody dreams of winning money, but nobody realizes the nightmares that come out of the woodwork or the problems, Post said, and wise words have never been spoken. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 66 while living on disability payments, leaving behind his 7th wife and 9 children. Have you ever heard the story of a lottery winner who got shot the next day of issuing the ticket? Don't go anywhere because that is coming up next. Mac W. Metcalf. A couple who received a multi-million-dollar windfall and eventually met their demise a few years later. In 2000, a $34 million lottery prize was won by Mac Metcalf and his divorced wife, Virginia G. Merida. They rapidly gathered their money and started splurging on expensive goods. The couple probably felt that anything was within their financial range when they were previously concerned with paying their monthly bills and timely apartment payment. Metcalf found fulfillment in a Southern Kentucky residence designed to resemble George Washington's Mount Vernon home and several classic vehicles. Merida decided to buy a Mercedes-Benz and live with numerous cats in a home close to the Ohio River. The lottery winners, however, soon had problems after a brief time of relaxation brought on by the sudden infusion of money. In 2003, just 3 years after their victory, Metcalf and Merida both passed very quickly. Merida was found dead in her bed by her son, Metcalf, who passed away from complications due to his drinking. Police stated that they did not have any suspicions of wrongdoing at the time Merida passed away, likely from a substance overdose. According to rumors, Metcalf had been into legal issues multiple times before he passed away. The two had purchased a $3 ticket at a truck stop in Florence, Kentucky, and by coincidence won $34.1 million in 2000. The couple's friends and family said that the deaths of the two were caused by significant sums of money being given to individuals who had personal problems and no prior expertise handling such a lot. A lottery lawyer stated, if he hadn't won, he would have worked like regular people and might have had 20 years left. But if you give someone with difficulties that much money, it merely encourages them to kill themselves. Similar sentiments were expressed by David Huff, the buyer who eventually acquired the Mount Vernon-style house from the Metcalf's estate. It was a textbook example of a person who had never had wealth and didn't know how to deal with it, according to Huff. I believe that once he received the money, things only got worse. Well, I can't agree more to that statement. Some say that the best decision after hitting the jackpot is to hire a financial advisor. But in the next story, that advice proved to be terribly false, which caused the life of an innocent man. Florida man Abraham Shakespeare. In the late 2000s, Shakespeare hit the jackpot and won millions of dollars on a lottery ticket. Abraham Shakespeare is a resident of Florida who won the lotto in November 2006. He won the $30 million prize, but chose the $16.9 million settlement to assist his family and friends. He used the money to purchase his dream home as well as homes for his cousins. Shakespeare also assisted a local hairdresser by repaying $87,000 in business debt. While winning the lottery may appear to be a pipe dream, Shakespeare eventually struggled with the enormous sum of money since he wasn't sure how to manage it. It was frightening because he had no idea how to manage his money. He had an entourage around him, but he didn't know half of them, his cousin Tammy Edom said. They were aware that he couldn't read. They were well aware of his inability to write. They were well aware that he could only sign his name. He was their cash cow, Cedric Odom, his other cousin, continued, and they milked him daily. Shakespeare pulled out of the spotlight after getting advice from a friend, owing to the hoopla surrounding his lotto victory. But here is the terrifying part. Shakespeare went missing 2 years after winning the lotto. He was discovered to have met his demise from a gunshot wound in the backyard of a Florida home after a 3-month search. It's time I introduced you to Moore. Shakespeare and Moore met in 2008 through a mutual acquaintance. Moore agreed to write a book on him to explain his tale at the time, and she later became his financial counselor. She was arrested in February 2010 by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and charged with being an accessory after the fact. But the charge was swiftly raised to first-degree murder in association with the demise of Shakespeare. In December 2012, a Florida jury found her guilty and sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Moore has maintained her innocence over the years, but Florida courts upheld her conviction in 2015 and again in 2019. They eventually labeled her ongoing allegations as confusing, conclusory, and ambiguous. If you are interested, Shakespeare's narrative is featured in the Hulu series Web of Death. Have you seen it? Although he had the greatest luck in the lottery, sadly that luck wasn't there when he needed it. In the next case, this $18 million winner got her luck rubbed out in a completely different situation.
Billy Bob Harold Jr. was a print shop manager from Humble, Texas. The ex-Marine had been running the print shop for an incredible 12 years when out of the blue, he lost his job. It was a huge blow to him. Billy was a 47-year-old church-going family man, and he didn't know how to support his wife and kids without his print shop. He started job hunting, but it didn't go well, and he lost several more jobs in the mid-1990s before he finally landed a job as a shelf stacker at the local Home Depot. You can probably guess that this job didn't pay too well, but there wasn't a lot of work available in Billy's small hometown, and he was out of options. He stuck with his shelf stacking job for the next 3 years. But, like all of us, he dreamed of winning the lottery and quitting his minimum wage job for good. So he often scraped together a few coins and buy a ticket or two. If he picked his own numbers, he'd always choose his children's birthdays. But it was a quick pick ticket that came through for him in the end. Billy had stopped by a Texaco Star Mart one Saturday in 1997 and grabbed a few lottery tickets, but he didn't really think he'd win, so he went to work without checking the numbers. It was only when he got home that evening that he checked the numbers in the Sunday newspaper. He couldn't believe what he saw. The numbers matched. He sent his son to the store to double-check the numbers. They still matched, but he had to wait a full day to get confirmation from a lottery official. But when they finally got back to him, he got the best news of his life. He was the only winner of a $31 million Lotto Texas jackpot. Billy and his wife made sure they handled their wins the right way. They immediately put the winning ticket in a safety deposit box and found an attorney with a good reputation to help. Finally, they got to collect their first check of 25 annual installments, and they now had a whopping $1.24 million in the bank. The 5 seconds it took to check those numbers have got to be the most exciting 5 seconds of Billy's life. Can you make the next 5 seconds of your life more exciting by hitting subscribe before I count down to 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep watching to find out what happened to Billy and his millions. Billy already knew the first thing he wanted to do with his money, and it wasn't buying a flashy car like you're thinking. He was very religious, and he wanted to donate 10% of his winnings to the church. That's a very big and very generous amount of cash to give away. But he didn't stop there. He soon gave money to another church as well. Then, he started giving money to anyone who needed it, which turned out to be a lot of people. He started with his own family. He bought a ranch and houses for family members. Plus, his wife and each of his kids got a shiny new car. But other people had realized he was giving money away like it grew on trees. Every time someone from his church mentioned that they had financial troubles, he was ready to write them a check. Then, Christmas rolled around, and Billy was there, buying 480 turkey dinners for needy families around town. I guess he realized how good all the attention felt, because it only got worse. He owned 6 houses now, although some were bought for family or friends. Soon, people were even showing up to his house to ask for money, and he'd give them what they wanted every time. This could have just been a sign that Billy was a naturally generous person, but it became obvious that he was just trying to impress people when he got a much younger girlfriend. Obviously, Billy's wife wasn't very happy about this, especially when Billy started buying this young woman expensive cars and jewelry. Just 8 months after hitting the jackpot, his wife understandably contacted an attorney to help her divorce Billy. They agreed to split the lottery winnings. An agreement was signed, and Billy's marriage was over. But his wife wasn't the only thing that Billy lost. His spending was getting worse by the day, and he was now already in debt. It was at this time that Billy was contacted by a company called Stone Street Capital. The company told Billy they specialized in helping lottery winners who agreed to receive their winnings in installments to change their minds and get a lump sum instead. They struck up a deal with Billy to do this. The deal was that Billy would receive $2.25 million in one payment right away. In exchange, Stone Street Capital would receive $6 million over the next 10 years, which was the remaining half of the winnings that still belonged to Billy. But anyone can see that $2.25 million in exchange for $6 million is definitely not a good deal. Well, everyone except Billy. Remember, Billy was seriously in debt by now, and that offer sounded like a good way to pay off his debt and continue living his lavish lifestyle. To everyone else, this looked like the scam it was, and they did everything they could to talk Billy out of it. His lawyer even told Billy that according to the law in Texas, lottery winners can't hand over their installment payments in exchange for a service. Even that wasn't enough to get Billy to listen. Before anyone could stop him, Billy had signed a contract that allowed Trust Corp America Incorporated to collect his half of the lottery winnings for the next 10 years, and only in exchange for a $2.25 million lump sum loan from Stone Street Capital. What's the worst way you ever spent your own money? Tell us in the comments, and keep watching to find out how Billy's story ends. Billy's financial manager was desperate now. He'd done everything he could to talk Billy out of that scam, but it hadn't worked. He now tried to convince Billy to take out life insurance. He was worried that if Billy suddenly died, his family would never be able to pay all the estate tax he owed. But in the end, it didn't matter. Billy hoped he could have got back together with his ex-wife after signing the contract with Stone Street Capital. But when he asked, she said there was no chance she'd come back to him. That seems fair enough, since he had cheated on her with a younger woman, and he'd even publicly paraded her around town, so everybody knew. You can bet his wife felt pretty humiliated by the way he treated her, but even though she didn't want to get back together with him, she said he should come to her house to have dinner with the family. It was now just 5 weeks after he signed the deal with Stone Street. He arrived early for dinner that night. His ex-wife greeted him, but his children never got to see him that night. Instead of waiting to have a lovely dinner with his family, like the good old days, Billy had other, much more tragic plans. Before anyone can stop him, he locked himself in his wife's bedroom. Then, he put a shotgun to his chest and pulled the trigger. He was already dead by the time people started arriving for dinner. He'd come prepared with a stack of notes addressed to each of his family members. The note for his ex-wife said, "I didn't want this. I just wanted you." His parents never believed he took his own life, but investigators say there was no other way he could have died. His children were mainly concerned about their finances. Billy's financial advisor had been 100% right about what would have happened if Billy suddenly died. Just like he'd said, Billy's kids inherited a shocking estate tax bill. They had no way of paying it off. To make matters worse, the $2.25 million that Billy had apparently received from Stone Street Capital had completely vanished. There's no doubt this is a tragic story, but hopefully you can learn some valuable lessons from it for when you win the lottery one day.
Learning one of the suspects is a mom who won a $1 million lottery last year.
Everyone dreams of winning the lottery. It's the ultimate financial windfall that promises to change your life forever. But for some lottery winners, the dream quickly turned into a nightmare. No. Instead of leading a life of luxury and leisure, they find themselves behind bars, facing criminal charges ranging from fraud to manslaughter. It's a cautionary tale highlighting the dark side of sudden wealth.
I want my money!
And the dangers of losing sight of what truly matters in life. In today's video, we'll explore the stories of several lottery winners who ended up in jail. These are the 10 lucky lottery winners who got in trouble with the law and eventually got locked away. Number 10. Stephanie Harville and Mitchell Arnswald. In a classic rags to riches to rags story, Stephanie Harville and her husband, Mitchell Arnswald, won $500,000 from the Michigan lottery back in 2016. At the time, they were the talk of the town in Bay City, Michigan, with big plans to turn their lives around with their newly acquired wealth. Fast forward 3 years, the couple found themselves behind bars, accused of a burglary spree that left authorities scratching their heads. It's a bizarre turn of events that left many wondering how the couple went from lottery winners to alleged criminals. According to reports, police in Michigan linked Harville, 28, and Arnswald, 29, to a string of burglaries targeting houses around the state. The crimes were described as brazen and persistent, with authorities concerned that the couple could be responsible for even more break-ins than they knew of. So how did it all go so wrong? It's unclear what led the couple from a $500,000 prize to an alleged crime wave, but the spate of burglaries all share a similar style. The houses were unoccupied during the crimes, all happening in broad daylight. Since early July 2019, at least a dozen burglaries had hit Bay County, with similar cases reported in nearby Saginaw, Midland, Aronic, and Tuscola counties. Investigators finally caught a break in September 2019 after another break-in, this time at a rural residence in Merritt Township, Michigan. Police had already pieced together a description of a Ford SUV linked to some of the other burglaries, and they soon spotted a matching vehicle in a grocery store parking lot. Inside, they found Harville and Arnswald, as well as items stolen from the Merritt Township house. Armed with a warrant, they later searched Harville and Arnswald's house in Bay City and found more evidence tied to other burglaries. Harville and Arnswald faced one count of second-degree home invasion and possession of burglary tools, and the couple was denied bail. While they may have won big in the lottery, it seems their luck has run out. Number 9. Amanda Clayton. Amanda Clayton, a young Michigan woman who seemed to hit the jackpot by winning a hefty $1 million from a lottery game show, Make Me Rich, in 2011. She made headlines for all the wrong reasons in 2012. She was arrested for allegedly collecting food stamps and public health insurance after her big win, which she failed to declare as income. In March 2012, Detroit station WDIV reported that Amanda, mother of a 1-year-old, had received around $5,475 in food stamps and public medical benefits over a period of 8 months. Amanda believed she was eligible for food aid since she was not employed at the time. The charges against her sparked a heated debate, with supporters saying that Amanda simply wasn't aware of the rules and detractors calling her actions fraudulent. With maximum penalties, including 4 years in prison, Amanda's case attracted a lot of attention and promised to be an intriguing legal battle. She pled no contest to fraud in June 2012 and was sentenced to 9 months of probation the next month after her attorney, Todd Flood, represented her when the Attorney General's office prosecuted her for not reporting her winnings. Flood said the accused didn't have the maturity to handle the lump sum winnings and that she had some money left, but it was a far cry from where she started. She did repay about $5,500 in food aid and medical benefits. In April 2012, Governor Rick Schneider signed a law requiring lottery officials to inform Human Services about new winners. However, Amanda's story took a bleak turn when she was found dead in October 2012. 25-year-old Amanda died in her home in Ecorse, Michigan, due to a possible drug overdose. Indeed, a tragedy. Some people never unlearn their self-sabotaging behaviors and harmful patterns. Number 8. Ronnie Music Jr. A man from Georgia, Ronnie Music Jr., who won an astonishing $3 million in the lottery, pleaded guilty for using his windfall to fund a sinister drug ring in 2016. The 45-year-old used his 2015 lottery winnings to buy the narcotics and then supply them to others who would resell them at a profit. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Georgia disclosed that Music's co-conspirators attempted to sell about 11 pounds of the narcotics with a street value of more than $500,000. Agents recovered more than $1 million worth of methamphetamine, firearms, thousands of rounds of ammunition, and $600,000 in cash in the case. U.S. Attorney Ed Tarver described Ronnie Music Jr. as someone who decided to test his luck by sinking millions of dollars of lottery winnings into the purchase and sales of narcotics. Tarver added, as a result of his unsound investment strategy, Music now faces decades in a federal prison. Music pleaded guilty to federal drug trafficking and firearm charges related to his operation in his home base of Ware County. He was sentenced after the state's probation office conducted a pre-sentence investigation. In February 2015, Georgia lottery officials announced Ronnie Music Jr.'s good fortune and said the maintenance supervisor and his wife planned to save a portion of the winnings. In a news release, Music said, "I buy tickets every once in a while. I couldn't believe it, and I still don't believe it." However, he's now facing the consequences of his actions and paying a hefty price for breaking the law. While some people keep plunging into the bottomless pits of self-destruction and never return, only a few know how to bounce back and make a comeback at life like never before. Like the next winner on our list. Number 7. Callie Rogers. Callie Rogers, the UK's youngest lottery winner, who won an unbelievable $2.2 million at 16 in 2003, made headlines again after blowing her winnings on parties, narcotics, and designer clothes for 20 years. The now 34-year-old mom of 4 from Cumbria has since turned her life around after a turbulent past few years. She even described her winnings as a curse and battled depression during the pressure of winning, which led her to try to take her own life. Her life became a roller coaster ride full of highs and lows after her massive win. Callie even got in trouble with the law. She crashed her car under the influence, was pepper sprayed, and hit with a driving ban. She refused a breathalyzer and appeared at Workington Magistrates Court, where she was banned from getting behind the wheel for 22 months and given an 11-week curfew. In 2018, she feared for her life when 2 women assaulted her after a night out, which resulted in her suffering from broken ribs, smashed teeth, concussion, and permanent damage to her sight. Although she gave away several hundreds of thousands of dollars to friends and family, she soon realized some people were just using her. The former checkout worker splurged thousands of dollars on plastic surgery and hundreds of thousands on narcotics and clothes. But she does not regret the win. Rogers is now studying to become a nurse at the University of Central Lancashire, having previously gone back to school in 2018 to study social care and work as a carer. She called out for lottery bosses to raise the minimum age of playing to 18 and said 16 is too young to handle such winnings responsibly. Callie stated that she had made some mistakes when she was young and naive, but winning the lottery played a significant role in shaping her into the person she is today. Despite the challenges, she's proud of who she has become. She's also mentioned that being given so much responsibility at 16 made it difficult for her to listen to advice, even if it was good. She added that she was too young and that her carefree childhood ended overnight, and she became an adult. In April 2021, lottery bosses implemented the change, raising the minimum age to 18. Although Callie's life is full of mishaps, and sadly she turned into an adult while she was still a naive child, it's wholesome to see her making progress, working hard to become a better person and building a life for herself and her family. Unfortunately, unlike Callie Rogers, many people don't get a chance at redemption, like this couple on our list. Number 6, Alex and Rhoda Toth. A couple down to their last $24 won a grand $13 million jackpot, but admitted that the money tore them apart. In 1990, Alex and Rhoda Toth won the Florida lottery and chose to take their winnings in installments, receiving $666,666 annually until 2010. "It is a lot of money," Alex said at the time. "It creates a lot of pressure on you." The Toths quickly spent their wealth on gifts, private jets across the world, and meeting celebrities such as Oprah Winfrey and Donald Trump. The couple also spent extravagantly on a 3-month trip to Las Vegas in a $1,000 a night penthouse suite at the Mirage. They then purchased 10 acres of land back in Florida. However, Alex lost large sums of his winnings gambling and never hired an accountant to deal with his taxes. When payments were made, their taxes were withheld. According to court documents, a decade after turning over their ticket for payment, they filed for bankruptcy in 2001 and 2002. Due to unpaid taxes, Alex and Rhoda were in debt to the IRS for $2.5 million and were later accused of tax fraud in 2006. Individually, Rhoda was responsible for $1.1 million of the owed amount, while her spouse, Alex, was accountable for $1.4. Rhoda was quoted as saying that the money has torn us apart, leading to rifts with their friends and families. Rhoda implored a judge in Florida in 1996 to shield her from her son and his then-girlfriend, alleging that they made death threats against her and the family pet and threatened to set her house and the vehicles on fire. Rhoda warned in her appeal to the court that someone was bound to be harmed unless the situation was resolved. By 2006, the former millionaire couple was living in squalid conditions, with their only source of electricity powering their home coming through an extension cord rigged to their car engine. The following year, Alex sought treatment for mental issues at a medical facility, which led to their eventual separation. In 2008, Alex died from a heart attack at the age of 60, broke and living off Social Security benefits before he could go on trial for tax fraud. Eventually, Rhoda was convicted in 2008 and sentenced to 2 years in prison for tax fraud. If you think that is crazy, wait until we tell you about the next lottery winner on our list, with an unbelievably extensive list of criminal records. Number 5. Gerald Muswagon. Gerald Muswagon was a fortunate lottery winner who won an enormous $10 million jackpot sometime in 1990. His victory had been a fairy tale turn in his otherwise troubled life. However, Muswagon did not know how to handle the fame and fortune that came with winning the lottery. His spending habits were widely known throughout Winnipeg, and rumors began to spread shortly after he won. He spent nearly all his winnings on buying new cars for himself and his friends, purchasing a lavish house that became a nightly party pad, and celebrating with narcotics and alcohol. He notoriously purchased 8 big-screen televisions for friends in one day. Muswagon's attempt at starting his own business, Gerald's Lodging, failed due to low sales and poor decisions. In October 2000, he led police on a high-speed chase in his new Chevy Silverado and was later sentenced to 3 months in jail for dangerous driving. After blowing all his fortune, Muswagon, who used to live in Norway House in northern Manitoba, resorted to working on his friend's farm, doing strenuous labor to make enough money to support his girlfriend and 6 young kids living in their humble home in Winnipeg. In November 2002, He was charged with repeatedly misbehaving with a 19-year-old woman who was helping him tidy his house after the death of his wife, Virginia. He later pleaded guilty to the assault charges and was allowed to serve his 3-month sentence intermittently on weekends so he could continue working during the week. Muswagon's lawyer stated that his client had a troubled past dating back to 1981. He had been convicted of several crimes, including assault causing bodily harm, drunk driving, theft, and breaking and entering. His lawyer claimed Muswagon's problematic behavior was due to difficulties adjusting to life after growing up with minimal education in Norway House. Things took an unexpected turn when he was found dead in 2005. Muswagon hanged himself in his parents' garage at 42 years old. People are very upset, and this is all very surprising, said his cousin, Mike Muswagon. He further revealed that Gerald had been depressed lately, but kept that part of him well hidden from others. His family attributed his death partly to the fact that he did not have anyone around to guide him during this time in his life. While the pros of winning the lottery are endless, the cons are boundless as well. And the next guy bore the brunt of it a little too much. Number 4. Lee Ryan. Lee Ryan realized his biggest monetary win was actually a grueling curse in disguise. The British man won an incredible amount, equivalent to $8 million, in the lottery in 1995. However, 6 months later, he was rotting behind bars branded the Lotto Lag for handling stolen cars. Although he served only 9 months of an 18-month sentence, Ryan became the first British lottery millionaire to be jailed. Ryan had prayed to be rich while serving a sentence in 1986 and was miraculously blessed with everything he had ever wanted. But he quickly discovered the downside of having a colossal fortune. He splashed his winnings on a $1 million country mansion and a fleet of luxury cars, including a Porsche, a Bentley, a Ferrari, and a BMW, each with a personalized license plate. He had everything he could ever want, including a swimming pool, tennis court, sauna, jacuzzi, and game room. But the high life came with its own set of problems, and Ryan and his family received death threats, leading him to beef up security and hire a bodyguard. Influential people turned against him because of his attitude, and he took the threats seriously, ensuring that his family was well protected. Things began to fall apart, and he split with his wife in 2003, spending time with his new partner in Kyrgyzstan before returning to the UK in 2010. However, Ryan's life took a dramatic turn when he was forced to sleep on the streets in a sleeping bag just 15 years after his big win. He claimed he was happier than ever before and hosted homeless people as guests in his South London flat. He now works as a cameraman and still lives in the same flat, a far cry from the days of luxury and wealth. Ryan's story is a cruel reminder of how we should be careful with what we wish for. While Lee Ryan was still able to make a life for himself, despite all the back-breaking events, some just keep spiraling down with no end in sight, like our next lottery winner. Number 3. Freddie Young. A heart-shattering incident occurred in Detroit in 2012, when the then 63-year-old lottery winner Freddie Young was sentenced to 25 to 30 years in prison for the shooting death of his daughter's landlord. The victim in question was 45-year-old Greg McNicol, a native of Australia, outside the Detroit apartment building he owned. According to authorities, McNicol was involved in an argument with Young's daughter over 2 months' worth of unpaid rent. During a recorded interview with the police, Young claimed he didn't realize he was holding the gun until the weapon suddenly went off. Despite his arguments that he acted in self-defense, the jury found him guilty of second-degree manslaughter. However, one of his attorneys, Jeff Edison, stated that his client would appeal the sentence. Following the incident, a judge temporarily froze Young's money after McNicol's widow filed a wrongful death lawsuit. Even so, Young's Lottery Club shared a whopping $46 million jackpot in February 2011. Each club member was initially set to receive around $1.6 through a cash payout. At the court following the verdict, McNicol's widow expressed her sentiments and said she was pleased with the sentence given to Young. "I think that's the minimum that the whole family was expecting," she said. Life took an awful turn for Young and his family, and his story goes on to show no amount of money can save you from yourself. and the hideous demons you hide within. It's nerve-wracking to know that Freddie Young was not a rare case who won big but ended up getting locked away. Number 2. Willie Hurt. In the year 1989, Lady Luck smiled upon Willie Hurt when he hit the jackpot. Can you imagine the rush of excitement coursing through your veins as he realized he had won a mind-boggling $3.1 million in the Michigan lottery? It was a golden ticket to a world of possibilities, a ticket to transform his existence into something unimaginable. But what seemed like a fairy tale come true quickly transformed into a haunting nightmare. The sudden influx of wealth clouded his judgment, and the grip of addiction trapped Willie. The insidious power of substance abuse shattered Willie's world like fragile glass. The love he once cherished, the bonds he held dear, disintegrated like ashes in the wind. With his novel wealth, he was a happy family man with 3 children and a wife. But within 2 years of cashing in his winning ticket, Hurt was penniless, addicted to narcotics, and in the midst of a painful divorce. His life had taken a woeful turn. To make matters worse, Hurt wound up in a legal quagmire when Wendy Elizabeth Kimmy, a 30-year-old woman, was fatally shot in the head at a boarding house where he had been renting a room for the past 3 weeks. Reports suggested that he and Kimmy had been on a 2-day drug and alcohol binge before the incident. Prosecutors allege that Hurt became enraged when they ran out of narcotics and shot Kimmy. He confessed to the crime and turned himself in. The judge ordered a psychiatric evaluation for Hurt. His jackpot winnings were coming in 20 annual installments of about $156,000 at the time. While a conviction would not have prevented him from receiving the money, much remains unknown about what ultimately happened to Hurt. It's natural to think that things evolve over time, and the odds of history repeating itself are pretty low. But the next person on our list would change your mind, whose case is similar to that of Willie Hurt. Number 1. Michael Hill. Finally, we have the harrowing case of Michael Hill that would make you lose all your faith in humanity. In 2017, a nuclear power worker from North Carolina, Michael Todd Hill, won a staggering $10 million lottery scratch-off ticket, and his life changed forever. He and his wife were overjoyed at their newfound wealth and made plans to pay off bills and invest in his wife's business. But little did they know that their happiness would be short-lived. Just a few years after his big win, 54-year-old Hill found himself in the middle of a domestic dispute with his 23-year-old girlfriend, Keona Graham. Their relationship was tumultuous, and they had a history of problems. Then, in 2020, Graham was found dead in a hotel room with a gunshot wound to the head. He was the only other person in the room with her, and surveillance footage showed he was the last person to see her alive. He eventually confessed to authorities that he had killed Graham because she was texting other men while they were staying at the hotel. Despite his wealth, he was unable to control his jealousy and anger, and it ultimately led to a tragic ending. In 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder of Keona Graham in 2020. Prosecutors stated that Hill was also given a 22 to 36-month sentence for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. This sentence will be served simultaneously with his life sentence. It's very likely that the deceased family would sue him in civil court, and they would be awarded the lottery money. This case is a cutthroat example of how money can't solve your problems, and it certainly cannot fix your internal issues. Number 1. Denise Rossi. Denise Rossi got super lucky one day when she hit the lottery jackpot. She won $1.3 million. That's pretty amazing news. So you'd think the first thing she would have done is tell her husband. After all, they've been married for 25 years. But she had other plans. She kept her win a secret, and instead of celebrating with her husband, Thomas, she asked for a divorce. She said later she didn't want him to get any of the money. She just wanted it all for herself, and was happy to break up their marriage to get her way. But it didn't work. During her divorce proceedings, someone found out what she'd done, and that information really counted against her. According to the law, not disclosing the lottery win counted as fraud. In the end, she was ordered to pay all of her winnings to her now ex-husband. Watch on to see 11 strict rules Powerball winners have to follow. Number 11. Don't lose your ticket. Maybe this one's obvious, but if you have a winning Powerball ticket, hold on to it. For big jackpots, you're going to have to bring that ticket in person to your state lottery commission if you want to collect. They don't keep track of who bought what ticket. If your dog eats it or it falls into a black hole, you are 100% out of luck. And if someone steals it, well, did you sign it? Because if you didn't, the person who stole it might just say it's theirs. That might be what happened with the $2 billion Powerball jackpot at the beginning of 2023. On Valentine's Day, a man named Edwin Castro handed in the winning ticket and took the lump sum payout of just under $1 billion. But now another guy named Jose Rivera claims that he's the one who should get the jackpot. Rivera says he bought the winning ticket from a service station, but then a guy named Reggie stole it from him. Did it really happen? Unknown. How did the ticket get from Reggie to Edwin Castro? Unclear. But the California Lotto stepped up to say if any crime was committed, that's none of their business. They just know Castro's the guy who handed in the ticket, so he's the winner. So sign your ticket and keep it safe. Then make your first big decision. Number 10. Pick your poison. Lump sum or annuity. You have to choose between getting your money all at once or getting regular payments over 30 years. That's a tougher choice than it sounds like, because either way, you're not going to get the whole value of the jackpot. Buckle up. Say you want a $10 million jackpot. Do you take the lump sum payment or the annuity? If you take all your money now, they don't give you $10 million. The lump sum payout is usually just 61% of the jackpot. That's right, if you want it now, they're keeping 39% right off the top. A $10 million jackpot turns into a $6.1 million jackpot. So maybe you settle for annuity payments over 30 years. That way, you get every dollar of the jackpot, but most of it will come 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Inflation is going to mean that that money will be worth a lot less when you get it than it is today. Consider this. Inflation has made the dollar worth almost exactly half of what it was 30 years ago. So you should expect a similar hit to the purchasing power of a payment you get 30 years in the future. The Lottery Commission will invest the money for you, but they'll play it safe. They don't want to lose your money, but it won't grow as fast as inflation. You can almost certainly do better by investing it conservatively yourself. And you're not done losing money yet. Number 9. Pay taxes on your winnings. That's right, even though the money's coming straight from the government, you get to give some of it back right away as taxes.
Make sure you check with your accountant first, and you have that time to do that. But as it relates to child support, if you do that recurring income, it's likely going to come into play because it is considered income for tax purposes.
You'll have to pay federal, state, and local taxes on that big pile of income. The lottery holds back just under 29% to cover that if you're a U.S. citizen, but might owe even more depending on where you live. So, if you won that $10 million jackpot and took the lump sum, it already got knocked down to $6.1 million. Next, Uncle Sam and friends take their share. And you've got, let's see, a little under $4.5 million left. That's right, less than half of the jackpot that you actually get to keep. And don't even think about skipping out on those taxes. The government knows exactly how much money they gave you. But at least now, you get to spend your $4 million. And once you start spending your money, your life is probably never going to be that simple again. Which brings us to our next unofficial rule. Number 8. Hire an accountant and an attorney. It's time to hire some people to help you out. Guess what? You can afford it now. Don't be stingy here. Unless your big dream for winning the lotto was to spend all your time doing paperwork, you need help managing your money. Want to hear a scary statistic? 1 in 3 lotto jackpot winners go bankrupt. You want an accountant because every big thing you spend money on is going to make your taxes more complicated. And you need an attorney because you're going to have legal problems. Sorry. In fact, you should really find a lawyer before you even collect your jackpot. But once you collect, you need to get ready to get sued. When people hear that you hit the jackpot, a lot of them are going to try to get something out of you. And you want a lawyer from a big national firm, not someone who's worked with your family or friends. Because it might be your family or friends who sue you. Take Bud Post. He won the Pennsylvania Lotto in 1988. Then his girlfriend, who was also his landlady, sued him, saying Post had agreed to split the jackpot with her. The judge sided against Post, and he had to give up a third of his $6 million prize. Our next rule is one you might not think of, but it's non-negotiable. Number 7. You have to claim your prize in the state you played in. Does this one sound obvious? Well, different states have different rules about collecting your prize. After you bought your winning ticket, you don't get to shop around for the state with the best rules. But when you hear about this next rule, you'll understand why you want to. Number 6. The state gets to share your identity. Obviously, you've got to tell the Lottery Commission who you are so they can give you the money. The lottery then turns around and tells the public your name and how much you won. Some states even publish where the winner lives. It makes sense that the states want to do this. It's great publicity for the lottery. It proves they're actually paying the lottery and not just keeping everyone's money or rigging it for the commissioner and all their friends. But it sucks for the winners. If it makes you nervous to imagine everyone in your state finding out you hit the Powerball jackpot, that's not just paranoia. Lottery winners are many times more likely to be victims of robbery, kidnapping, and even murder. Like Gregory Birch Jr. In 2016, he won a $400,000 prize, not even one of the really big ones. Only 2 months later, a group of armed robbers broke into his house and killed him. He's just one sad example. Lately, more and more states have realized that announcing a lottery winner's name puts a giant target on their back.
Won the Super Lotto in his home country and wore the mask here from the horror movie Scream to claim his $158.4 million.
Now, 16 states let lottery winners stay anonymous. Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, South Carolina, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. For some of these states, winners only get to stay anonymous if the jackpot is big enough. Florida and Arizona have a weird rule. In those states, winners can stay anonymous, but only for 90 days. After the 90 days, the winner's identity is a public record. So basically, you get a 90-day head start on anyone coming after you. But what if you live in one of the other 32 states? Are you just out of luck? Well, there's one thing you can do. Number 5. If you want to stay anonymous, set up a trust. That fancy pants lawyer you hired is gonna be clutch. Because here's a little cheat. The law in most of these states says it's a public record who collects the prize money. But they don't say the prize money has to be collected by a human being. A trust is kind of a legal entity that handles money. You can have your lawyer set up a trust, and then have the trust be the one who wins the lottery for you. In some states, this means the trust's name get made public, and you remain anonymous. In other states, it's just an extra layer of protection. People can look up who owns the trust if they really want to know. And in California, unfortunately, this trick just isn't allowed. You might want to think twice about buying your ticket there. No matter what you do though, bad luck is gonna find you. Which brings us to the next rule. Number 4, get insurance. Get yourself some good umbrella insurance. No, that's not insurance in case your umbrella breaks. Umbrella insurance is liability insurance that kicks in where other insurance policies leave off. So, for example, if everyone on your block suddenly gets really clumsy and starts falling down in front of your house, and every personal injury attorney in town is beating on your door, your regular insurance will run out pretty fast. The extra insurance will keep people from bleeding you dry. That should go a long way to protecting you from people who want to take your money. But what about people you want to give your money to?
So you need to put together the right attorney, the right advisor, financial advisor, and make sure you have the right accountant in place, and figure out what the best way it is to optimize what it is that you have.
Number 3, decide how much to give away and stick to it. This is another rule that will keep you from losing all your money and all your friends. If you strike it big, you need to decide right away how much of the money you want to share. Will you give away 10%, 20%, 50%, 90%? Whatever that number is, you'll want to tell it to that big shot attorney you hired. They can set up trusts and foundations to give the money to charity, help your friends' kids through college, or whatever else you want to do. What you can't do is just give money to people whenever you feel like it, because people around you are going to act like you have infinite money, and you're probably going to feel like it's infinite too. But it's not infinite, and you'll find that out the hard way unless you follow the next rule. Number 2, put up a safety net. The way to get set for life is to invest a big chunk of money and never, ever touch it. Wait, that doesn't sound right, but it's true. Remember that $4.5 million after tax payout we were imagining? You'd want to take, say, $2 million of that and invest it in something really boring, like an index fund or treasuries. That big pile of money will grow a few percent every year. You want to live off that extra and never touch the original pile. 6% a year isn't a crazy return, but 6% of $2 million is $120,000. That's a six-figure income. Most people have to work for that, but not you. But there's one more rule you have to keep in mind if you hit the jackpot. Number 1, don't expect it to solve all your problems. Of course, having a huge pile of money can solve a lot of problems. Sometimes the problem is that you don't have enough money. Having more money is great for that, but as we've seen, winning the lottery can create new problems. All that money can put a strain on your relationships. It can bring out the worst in people. It can bring out the worst in you. You've got to be careful. We already saw that a third of lottery winners go bankrupt. Lottery winners are also a whole lot more likely to overdose on drugs, get convicted of drunk driving, get charged with a felony, but you have to keep your eyes open. Don't forget the things in your life that are really important.
Did you know 1 in every 3 lottery winners goes bankrupt within 5 years? Turns out most people have no idea what to do after they win. But lucky for you, lottery lawyer Kurt Panusis has finally revealed the big secret about what you need to do after winning. He has helped over 50 major lottery winners, including a $1.05 billion winner, and now he has decided to help future winners. Let's see what advice he has for you. The initial challenges. We're going to start at the very beginning. What happens right after you win? Well, winning the lottery is supposed to be the best thing that ever happens to you. And for a little while, it is. You wake up every morning knowing you will never have to check your bank balance before buying something. You can book flights, buy cars, pay off debt, and take care of your family. Life is finally easy. But there is one thing no one tells you. The money does not come alone. It brings problems, expectations, guilt, stress, and more responsibility than you have ever had before. If you don't prepare for what's coming, this dream can shatter, or worse, turn into a nightmare. Kurt says the first mistake people make is assuming their only problem is spending wisely. That's not it. The real problem is everyone else. People change when they think they have unlimited money. Some will celebrate you while others will resent you. And some will see you as their personal ATM. Suddenly, everyone you know has a crisis they need help with. Your coworker's mom needs surgery. Your cousin is about to lose his house. A friend you barely talk to anymore needs just a small loan to start a business. At first, you might feel like helping, and honestly, that's great. You should help where you can, but only after you have a plan. If you start giving away money just because you feel bad, it will never stop. People talk, and the second someone gets a check from you, others will come asking. They will make you feel like a bad person for not handing over a piece of your winnings, like you owe them something. Take your time. According to Kurt, the best way to avoid this is to not tell anyone you won. Not your friends, not your coworkers, not even family until you have figured out what you're doing. It sounds extreme, but you need time. Time to get the right people in place, time to decide on how you want to handle your money, time to let the shock wear off. And if you live in a state where winners have to go public, delay claiming your prize for as long as possible. Once your name is out there, you lose control over who knows. Even if you manage to stay quiet, there is still the issue of scammers. Once money enters the picture, the world starts looking at you differently. Fake charities will reach out. Investment opportunities will show up in your inbox. Financial advisors will claim they can double your money with some low-risk deal. It's all nonsense. Even some legit investment firms will try to take advantage and push you into deals that sound good, but mostly benefit them. Build a team. The best way to protect yourself is by building a solid team before you claim the money. You need a lawyer, a CPA, and a financial planner. And not just any random professionals. You need people who specialize in high net worth clients. Not your family friends, not any self-taught financial gurus. Just experienced professionals who know what they're doing. And don't be afraid to interview multiple people before deciding. The right team will save you millions in taxes, legal fees, and bad investments. Now let's talk about actually claiming your winnings, because this is where a lot of people make their first big mistake. What to do with the ticket? You see, every state has different rules, and you must claim in the state where you bought the ticket. It doesn't matter where you live, you will need to go back to that state to claim. And before you do, take a minute to think about how you're going to do it. You might be tempted to grab that ticket and rush straight to the lottery office. Don't! Kurt says that the very first thing you should do is make copies of the front and back of the ticket. Take pictures. Store the original somewhere safe. It can be a locked safe, a safety deposit box, or anywhere secure. The ticket is literally a piece of paper worth millions. If you lose it, that's it. Lottery lawyer Kurt Panousis also gave one piece of advice that shocked us all. You know how people always tell others to sign their tickets? Even the lottery tells you to sign the back immediately. But Kurt Panousis advises not to sign your ticket right away. You see, once your name is on it, it is legally yours, and that means you lose the option to claim it through a trust or LLC. If you want to stay anonymous or have better tax planning options, talk to a lawyer before signing. You only get one chance to claim this money the right way. Then there is the question every lottery winner has to face. Lump sum versus annuity. Do you take the lump sum or choose an annuity? If you take the lump sum, you get all your money at once, but there is a downside. You'll have to pay taxes on it immediately. On the other hand, if you take annuity payments, you will get smaller amounts every year for the next 30 years, and in the end, you'll technically receive more money. So what does Kurt think you should do? Well, a lot of people think annuity is the better choice because it guarantees a steady income. But Kurt says that if you do that, you're relying on the government to send you checks for 3 decades. That's a long time, and you have no control over what happens to tax rates in the future. If taxes go up in 10 years, your future payments will take a bigger hit. And if something happens to you before the 30 years are up, the remaining payments might not automatically go to your family, depending on state laws. On the other hand, the lump sum gives you complete control over your money right away. You take the tax hit up front, and whatever is left is yours to manage. If you invest it wisely, you can easily make back the difference. But that's the key here. You have to invest wisely. Most people are not used to handling that kind of money, and without a plan, they burn through it fast. The choice depends on how disciplined you are. So if you're good with money and have a solid team, take the lump sum but invest smartly. But if you think you'll struggle with self-control, an annuity might protect you from yourself. Just make sure you understand the long-term effects of either decision before choosing. Taxes. And now the part no one likes to think about. Kurt also talked about taxes. The IRS is getting its cut. The federal tax on lottery winnings is 37% right off the top. If you live in a state with no lottery tax, that's all you'll owe. But if you live somewhere like California or New York, expect another 10 to 13% gone in state taxes. That means if you win $100 million, after federal and state taxes, you might walk away with closer to $50 million. This is still a lot of money, but a big difference from what you expected. Kurt also talked about another thing most people don't think about: estate taxes. You see, if you take the annuity and pass away before all the payments are made, your family might owe estate taxes on the remaining balance. That can be a huge financial hit, and it's something you should plan for early on. Winning the lottery doesn't mean you'll stay rich forever. You have to do something for that. It's easy to assume you'll be different, that you won't make the same mistakes other winners have made. But without planning, you can lose everything just as fast as you got it. But Kurt has the right advice for you. This is what you should do after dealing with the initial challenges: saving and investing. Your sole focus after matching your winning numbers should be on protecting those winnings. You see, protecting your lottery winnings is just as important as winning in the first place. We have already talked about how keeping your identity private is a huge advantage, and trusts or LLCs can help with that. But anonymity is only one piece of the puzzle. Even if you manage to stay out of the spotlight, you still have to handle your money the right way or it won't last. Bank accounts. One of the first things you need to do after claiming your winnings is set up the right kind of bank accounts. And no, you cannot just walk into your local bank branch, hand them your lottery check, and expect things to go smoothly. Most regular banks are not equipped to handle massive deposits like this. Your average checking account is not designed to hold millions of dollars. In fact, most personal accounts are only insured for up to $250,000 under the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So if your bank suddenly goes under, anything above that amount could disappear. That's why lottery winners need private banking, the kind offered by large financial institutions that specialize in handling wealth. Private banks cater to high net worth individuals, meaning they have experience managing large sums. They offer investment advice and protect your money from unnecessary risks. They'll set you up with the right kind of accounts, help you move money strategically, and make sure your funds are diversified across multiple safe institutions instead of sitting in one vulnerable place. If you just dump your money into a small credit union or a local bank, you're asking for trouble. First of all, smaller institutions are not designed to deal with multi-million-dollar accounts. Even if they technically accept your deposit, they might not have the proper security measures in place to protect it. You could also run into issues with withdrawals because banks have rules on how much you can take out or transfer at a time. Imagine needing to move money for an investment or major purchase and being told you cannot access your own funds because the bank is not used to handling that kind of money. Another risk is fraud and security breaches. Smaller banks often have fewer cybersecurity protections, making them easier targets for hackers. And unfortunately, even employees at financial institutions are not always trustworthy. There have been cases where bank employees leaked information about high net worth clients or even stole from their accounts. If you think people won't notice your sudden change in wealth, think again. The second a small bank sees a massive deposit come in, people start talking. So, how do you avoid these problems? First, work with a private banker, someone whose job is to help wealthy clients manage their funds. They'll make sure your money is split across multiple insured accounts, keeping each one within the FDIC limit. They'll also guide you on safe ways to store cash, move funds, and protect yourself from fraud. And unlike regular banks, private banking services offer customized financial solutions, meaning they will help with investing, estate planning, and large transactions without locking you into rules that don't fit your situation. Once your money is safely stored, the next big decision is how to invest it. The worst thing you can do is let it sit untouched in a regular savings account. Inflation will eat away at its value over time, and you'll miss out on opportunities to grow your wealth. The best investment options. Smart lottery winners focus on diversification, which means they spread their money across different types of investments to minimize risk. The key here is balance. You don't want all your money in one place, but you also don't want to spread it too thin or take on unnecessary risks. A solid investment strategy might look something like this. First, there should be a portion of money in stocks, which offer long-term growth potential. This means you invest in well-established companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. This way, your money will work for you instead of just sitting there. Next, you should invest in real estate, which can provide steady rental income and long-term appreciation. This means you should purchase commercial buildings, rental properties, or real estate investment trusts, instead of just buying mansions. A small part of your money should also go into purchasing bonds, which are safer and provide stable returns. These can help balance out riskier investments. And then keep some cash and liquid assets, so you always have money available without needing to sell investments during a market downturn. This way, if one market crashes, your entire fortune is not wiped out. Now let's talk about investment strategies for long-term wealth stability, because making money is one thing, but keeping it for life is another. The biggest mistake new millionaires make is jumping into high-risk investments without understanding them. People assume that because they suddenly have money, they know how to manage it. They don't. That's why so many lottery winners end up broke. A conservative investment strategy focuses on protecting what you have first, and then growing it. That means avoiding get-rich-quick schemes, high-risk investments, and anything that sounds too good to be true. Let us give you an example so that you understand it better. Say you have $50 million after taxes. A conservative plan would aim to live off investment income rather than spending the principal. If you invest wisely, you can earn millions per year in passive income without touching your original fortune. That's what wealthy families do. The safest way to do this is through low-risk, income-generating investments. This can be blue chip stocks, index funds, dividend stocks, real estate, and conservative bonds. These don't offer insane returns overnight, but they also don't carry the risk of wiping you out. For example, if you put $30 million into a mix of dividend stocks and bonds, earning just a 4% return means you'll get $1.2 million per year in passive income. That's more than enough to live on comfortably forever, and your original investment is still growing. This is how wealthy people stay wealthy. They don't chase risky investments, they build slow, steady wealth over time. The real danger comes from bad financial decisions and scams. People will try to sell you on high-risk, high-reward investments like crypto schemes, startup businesses, luxury real estate flips, or even exclusive hedge funds. They will tell you you're missing out if you don't jump in. But the truth is, most of these fail. The golden rule is that if you don't understand it, don't invest in it. You don't need to double your money in a year. You need to protect what you have and let it grow safely. Even with all the right strategies in place, mistakes can still happen. The difference between winners who stay rich and winners who go broke is who they trust, how much they learn, and how patient they are. The smartest thing you can do is surround yourself with experienced professionals. Take your time making decisions and never let greed or pressure push you into a bad deal. Lottery lawyer Kurt Panosis says that he has seen it all. Winners who plan wisely and enjoy lifelong wealth, and those who make impulsive decisions and lose everything. His advice is to move slow, stay quiet, and think ahead. Quitting immediately. Kurt also made us realize one more thing. He said that one of the first things many winners say is, "I'm going to quit," and most people do. But Kurt says that before you hand in that resignation, make sure you have secured health insurance. Without an employer, you will need a private plan, and good coverage does not come cheap. Kurt warns that too many winners forget about this step and end up scrambling when a medical emergency hits. Lottery pools. He also had some advice for those who won in a group lottery pool because things can get tricky fast here. Everyone is happy when buying tickets together, but once money is involved, things can turn ugly. If there was no written agreement, there surely are going to be many fights. Some people will claim they should get more, others will say they were supposed to be in on the ticket. Kurt Panosis has seen cases where entire friend groups fell apart because someone was left out or felt cheated. His advice is to always put agreements in writing before buying tickets together. This does not have to be complicated. Just a simple document stating who's participating, how much they contributed, and how the winnings will be split. This protects everyone and avoids unnecessary drama. The final advice. And finally, don't rush into a completely new lifestyle overnight. It's tempting to go all in on a spending spree, buy a mansion, travel the world, or gift money to everyone you know. But quick changes lead to quick mistakes. Kurt recommends that everyone should take 6 months to a year before making any major purchases. Instead of immediately upgrading to a multi-million-dollar home, rent a luxury place for a while and see how it feels. Instead of buying cars for every relative, set up structured gifts or investments that won't drain your funds. The goal is long-term stability. You should never go for instant gratification. Winning the lottery gives you opportunities most people never get, but money alone does not guarantee success. The people who keep their wealth treat it like a business, not a jackpot. They protect themselves, plan ahead, and take advice from professionals who know what they're doing. Kurt has helped some of the biggest lottery winners in history, and his advice remains the same. Move slow, think long-term, and don't let the money control you. Tried everything and still no luck winning the lottery? How about manifestation? We know this sounds a little out there, but before you roll your eyes or dismiss the idea completely, watch how these 8 luckiest people in the world manifested their win and actually walked away with millions of dollars. Number 8. Niles Malvasia. This is the insane story of Niles Malvasia. Now, the difference between Niles and other lottery players was that he was not hoping for a lucky break. He had a clear plan, one that didn't involve lucky numbers, superstitions, or even picking his own tickets. His plan was that he was going to manifest his win. Now, most people just wish or manifest good things, but they never get it because they're so vague with their wishes. But not Niles. He was not vague about his manifestation. He did not just hope for a lot of money or some luck. No, Niles was crystal clear that he wanted exactly $1 million, and he was going to get it through the lottery. That might sound bold, maybe even unrealistic, but for Niles, this was just another thing he was adding to the long list of things he had already manifested in his life. He had always believed in the law of attraction, believed in the idea that what you focus on, you bring into your life. He says that he had been listening to the teachings of Abraham Hicks and The Secret and learning their methods. By early 2018, he had been practicing it daily. According to Niles, he would speak his desires out loud, set clear intentions, and most importantly, believe it was already his. The point to notice here is that he was not desperate. He did not beg the universe. Instead, he was simply stating a fact that he was going to win $1 million. Then, one day, something happened. It was a January morning and he was out running errands, so nothing unusual. It was just a normal day. At some point, he made a phone call home to check what everyone wanted for dinner, and Chinese food was the answer. That led him toward his usual spot in Hackensack, New Jersey. But before he got there, something caught his eye. Traffic was slow, bumper to bumper, which gave him plenty of time to look around. That's when he saw it, a huge Powerball billboard with the jackpot amount, $525 million. He had already decided his amount, but still looking at that massive number, something inside him clicked. Without hesitation, he said out loud, "You are mine." He continued his drive and, instead of taking his usual route home, he decided to take a different road. A small change, nothing major, but it put him right near his favorite 7-Eleven, the one where he always played his lottery tickets. And since he was already there, he figured, why not? He stepped inside, walked up to the counter and let the machine pick his numbers. He left with his ticket, grabbed dinner, and went about his night as if nothing unusual had happened. And for a while, nothing did. Then the numbers were drawn. At first, he didn't even check his ticket. He had already put his intention out there, and that was enough. But when he did check, 5 out of 6 numbers matched. One number away from the full jackpot, but exactly what he had asked for. $1 million. He had won the exact amount he had been manifesting all along. But Niles is not the only one who manifested the exact amount and actually won. There is another story that you might not even believe is real. Number 7. Cynthia Stafford. This is the shocking story of Cynthia Stafford. Cynthia was not living in luxury when she decided she was going to win the lottery. In fact, she was dealing with a lot. After her brother passed away, she stepped up to take care of his 5 children while also supporting her aging father. Money was tight, their home was cramped, and life was as hard for her as it could be. But instead of just wishing for a better solution, Cynthia got very specific. She manifested that she was going to win exactly $112 million. And she didn't just hope for it, she lived as if it was already hers. She visualized it daily, she meditated on it, and she even kept written notes under her pillow. According to her, she was sending all the signs she could to the universe that she needed that win. Then, after 3 years of total belief and dedication to this idea, her exact number hit. She won the full $112 million jackpot. Thankfully, she did not splurge all that amount and was smart enough to invest her money. So what did she do? Start her own film company as it was her dream job. So if you think manifestation is just wishful thinking, maybe Cynthia's story will make you think twice. Because for her, believing in her win was $1 million reality. Number 6. Richard Lustig. This is the story of Richard Lustig. While some people believe the lottery is pure luck, Richard saw it differently. He believed that intention, focus, and strategy played a huge role in success, and he used these principles every time he bought a ticket. You see, instead of just hoping for a win, Richard was deliberate in his approach. He followed a clear system as he was convinced that his approach aligned him with winning. He picked specific numbers and never changed them, as he trusted that persistence and belief sent the right energy into the universe. He refused to let losses shake his confidence. If he didn't win, he saw it as part of the process rather than a reason to stop. Richard believed that people who constantly changed their numbers or played without conviction were blocking their own success. He stayed consistent in his choices, playing with the expectation that his turn would come. He also chose games with better odds as he wanted to focus on smaller jackpots instead of chasing the biggest prizes. Over the years, his His method led to 7 grand prize wins, adding up to over $1 million. His biggest win was $842,000 in Florida, but the real achievement was proving that his system worked. Richard shared his strategy with the world, writing "Learn how to increase your chances of winning the lottery" and appearing on TV shows like Good Morning America. He was living proof that combining belief with action could create real results. While Richard manifested his wins with strategy and persistence, this next winner had a little extra help from a psychic. Number 5. David Thompson. This is David Thompson's insane story of how he won the lottery with the help of a psychic. One day, David decided to visit a psychic card reader, but he was not expecting anything out of the ordinary. But during the reading, she told him something that stuck with him. She saw a lot of money in his future. A few months later, he won $160,000 in the Jersey Cash 5 lottery. Was that just a coincidence? Maybe. But then she made another prediction. She told him love was coming into his life soon, and once again, she was right. Not long after, David met the woman who would become his wife. The two fell in love, and by June of that year, they were married. But the story does not end there. There is one more crazy twist. The day after their wedding, David bought another lottery ticket, and this time, he won nearly $1 million. Winning once is lucky. Winning twice, right after a psychic predicts it, sounds totally unbelievable. But David fully believed in what she told him, and whether it was fate, the universe, or pure manifestation, he aligned himself with those wins, just like this next lucky lady. Number 4. Carolyn O'Brien. This is the story of Carolyn O'Brien, a woman living her life like anyone else, never expecting that one day she would wake up a millionaire. But years before it happened, someone had already seen it coming. It was a psychic. Carolyn never expected a psychic to predict her future, but that's exactly what happened. She was just about to leave the reading when the psychic suddenly grabbed her arm and said, "I see you holding a check," cheering, "I did it." At the time, Carolyn did not think much of it. A fun prediction maybe, but nothing to take seriously. Life went on, years passed, and that strange moment became nothing more than a memory. Then one day, she walked into an AARI food store in New Milford and bought a lottery ticket. It was just another day, just another ticket, until she checked the numbers. She had won $3 million. And just like that, the memory of that psychic came rushing back. It was all happening exactly as predicted. When she went to claim her winnings, she could not hold it in. She threw her hands up, smiled, and shouted, "Best day ever. I did it." Even the store that sold her the ticket got a reward. It got a $30,000 bonus. Some might call it luck, others fate. But for Carolyn, that moment had been written in the stars long before it happened. Number 3. Shane Missler. Next, we have the shocking story of Shane Missler. Shane was a firm believer in positive thinking and manifestation, so when he won the $451 million Mega Millions jackpot at just 20 years old, he was not completely surprised. So people asked him, why wasn't he surprised? Did he cheat? Shane shared his secret with everyone and revealed that before the win, he had been deep into self-improvement. He read books about the law of attraction, practiced positive thinking, and truly believed that good things would come his way. When he bought that winning ticket, he was expecting something great to happen. The night of the drawing, Shane checked his numbers and realized he had actually won. Unlike most people, he did not scream or lose control of himself. Do you know why? Because he says he already knew it was going to happen. Instead of creating a scene, he just looked at his phone and texted his brother, "It's happening." That's the kind of confidence he had. He took the lump sum payout, which was about $282 million after taxes, and didn't waste time thinking small. Instead of blowing through the money recklessly, Shane talked about using his wealth to do good, help his family, and pursue personal growth. He knew that in order to win big, you have to believe in the possibility of something bigger. His social media posts after the win reflected this mindset. He tweeted about how he had been a big believer in the power of positive thinking, and how he always felt his mindset played a role in his success. Some might call it luck, but Shane saw it differently. He truly believed that his mindset and belief system helped bring that jackpot into his life, and for him, the proof was sitting in his bank account. Next, we have the story of a couple who manifested not one, but 2 lottery wins. Number 2. David and Kathleen Long. David and Kathleen Long say that they always had a strong feeling that one day they would win big. And then, yes, they did. It was £1 million in 2013, and at that time, it felt like everything had aligned the way it was supposed to. But then David felt something else, a sense that it could happen again. While most people would be content with one jackpot, he kept playing because he believed that another win was still in his future. In 2015, 2 years after their first win, they won another £1 million in the UK's Euro Millions raffle, which is $1.29 million US. The odds of this happening were beyond rare, yet David had always believed it was possible. When he saw the winning numbers for the second time, he was not even shocked because he had already convinced himself that this was part of his path. With their winnings, they upgraded their home, helped their family, and continued enjoying life without financial stress. They didn't see their wins as a random chance. For them, it was proof that having a strong belief in something can shape your reality. And once again, we have a winner whose psychic helped her manifest her big win. Number 1. The winner abroad. In Sydney, Australia, a woman bought a Powerball ticket without expecting much back in 2021. The ticket cost her only $7 US, and she had actually won that amount in a previous draw, so it was no big deal. But then she saw a social media post about a mystery winner. Someone had hit a jackpot worth $6.11 million US. That's when something clicked. She had bought her ticket from the exact same store mentioned in the post. Her heart started racing. She grabbed her ticket, checked the numbers, and there it was. She was the winner. The excitement was overwhelming, but what made it even crazier? Her mother's psychic had predicted this moment. A while back, her mom had gone to a reading, and the psychic told her that someone in the family would win a massive amount of money and use it to help their loved ones. At the time, it sounded like one of those vague, too good to be true predictions. But standing there with her winning ticket, she realized it had all come true. She was not just keeping the money to herself. She had already talked with her sister about what they would do if they ever won: buy each other new cars, pay off mortgages, and take care of their parents and grandparents. Now, those plans were real. And of course, she planned to celebrate. A bigger house, some diamond earrings, and eventually a vacation, maybe even somewhere far away. Because when life gives you a jackpot, why not dream even bigger? We know what you're thinking right now. You've decided that you will also start manifesting your win just like these 8 winners. And who knows, you might win next week. It is a tempting idea. Just think about it. Visualize it, believe it is yours, and one day, you're holding a multi-million-dollar check. It feels so good to think about it. But before you start writing down lucky numbers and repeating affirmations, let's talk about the downsides first. Because yes, there are a few. First, let's be real. The odds of winning the lottery are ridiculously low. Depending on the game, you could be looking at 1 in 292 million or something only slightly better. That's not exactly great for those banking on manifestation alone. Then there is the danger of magical thinking. Some people believe that if they visualize hard enough, the universe will just drop money into their laps. But it does not happen like that. If there have been some coincidences, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen to you as well. And let's not forget the emotional roller coaster. If you put all of your energy into manifesting a win and it doesn't happen, it can lead to frustration, disappointment, and even financial problems if you're spending more than you can afford on tickets. How to manifest a lottery win. So, does this mean manifestation is a waste of time? If you just rely on that one thing, then yes. But there are some real tricks that can help increase your chances. The first trick is to avoid choosing birthdays and popular numbers. Most people pick numbers based on birthdays, meaning they only choose between 1 and 31. But many lotteries have numbers that go higher than 31, meaning you're limiting your chances and possibly sharing your jackpot with more people. So instead of doing that, consider using less common numbers or letting the machine randomly generate them. Next, you should play games that give you a better chance of winning. Powerball and Mega Millions may be tempting, but they have the worst odds. Smaller state lotteries, local raffles, and scratch-offs often have better chances of winning. Check the odds before you play because sometimes a smaller prize is a smarter win. The next trick is to stick with your numbers. Some winners, like Richard Lustig, swore by playing the same numbers consistently instead of changing them every time. While it does not guarantee a win, it keeps your play more more focused and intentional. You should also consider joining a lottery pool. You see, more tickets means better odds. But instead of spending more alone, you can join a group. Friends, co-workers, or family members can split the cost and winnings, increasing everyone's chances. Lastly, you should be consistent but smart about it. Playing regularly gives you more opportunities, but you have to set a budget and stick to it. The goal is to play strategically, not recklessly. If you want more tips and tricks and want a chance of winning one of the biggest lotteries in the US, watch our next video to learn everything about Mega Millions and how to increase your chances of winning. Goodbye for now.